this 1 minute silence. So this session we will be contemplating on the Vedic legends. ऐसे बहुत सारे legends, बहुत सारे stories जो हमारे वेद ग्रंथ है, जो चारों संहिताएं हैं. So when I say चारों संहिता, जो ज्ञान हमारे ऋषियों को रिवील हुआ था, the truth that they realized, and they brought it in front in the form of mantras. So that was systematized by Veda Vyasa. Who systematized it? Veda Vyasa. That is why Vyasa Deva is known as Veda Vyasa. He, with his disciples, he divided the entire content of the Vedas into 4 Samhitas. So that's how you have Rigveda Samhita. Please remember, use the word always Rigveda Samhita, Yajurveda Samhita, Samaveda Samhita, Atharva Veda Samhita. So Veda Samhita. Samhita means compilation, collection. तो इसको रुक, यजु, साम, अथर्व ऐसे क्यों डिवीजन किया गया है, ये सारे के पीछे कारण है. पर हमारा फोकस अभी है कि in all these Veda Samhitas we will look at the content of it. That content, in whatever form is given, that content, that form is called the mantra. The word mantra, which is very, very important. So we discussed about the word Veda, we discussed about the word Rishi. Now the word is mantra. So you all have heard the word mantra. What does mantra mean? Again, we will understand the meaning of the word mantra, then I will take you through one particular legend which is very, very central to the Vedic vision. Okay? So like every word, mantra also has a root sound of its own. The root sound is man. Man. Then the word is, another component is tra. So man is the root sound and tra is a suffix. Now very interestingly, you look how the words are derived in Sanskrit from root sounds. The tra, if you remember the tra suffix, you can understand so many words. Tra is a suffix which is added in the sense of instrument or tool. Right? So if you want to bring out the sense of a tool or instrument, add the suffix tra. So for example, like you have the vessel is called patra. Why it is called patra? Pa means to drink. So it's a tool, it's a means, it's an instrument you use for drinking. Patra. Right? You have the word chhatra. Chhatra means you use chhata. Chhatra. You use it as for umbrella, right? So it's a tool which the root sound is chhad. Chhad means to cover. So it's a tool which helps you to cover your head from the rain or sun, anything, right? Chhatra. You have netra. Netra means eyes. So why it is called netra? The root sound is ni. Ni means to lead. So it's a tool which leads you. Without it, you will not be led. Right? Netra. You have this is called vastra. Vastra means vas means to cover. So it's a tool again which covers your whole body. Vastra, right? So netra, patra, vastra, shastra. Shastra, it's a tool. Shas means to throw. Okay. So shastra, like a weapon. Shastra, shas means to instruct, to teach. Okay. To bring you in the anushasana, right? So shastra is again a tool, instrument. So anywhere, and you want to create new words also, you can create. For example, like you want to create a word for, say, washing machine. Now there is a root sound dhav. Dhav means to wash. Dhav means to run also. Okay. So dhavati. So dhav, you can add tra to it, becomes dhavitra. So dhavitra means washing machine. Like rupa, you add tra to it, make it the word rupitra. You can use it for camera. Jan means to generate. So you can add tra to it, make it janitram. It becomes generator. Khan, to dig. So make it khanitram. It becomes a digging instrument. So that's how Sanskrit, you can generate as many words as you can. Okay. So that's why it has the power to meet the challenges of any age, any any progression that we make, and any new word needed for that, you can create a word.
So that means that Sanskrit is basically a verb-dominated language,
Root,
not a noun-dominated.
Yes. It's
the
organically grown from the seed sounds. From the seed sounds, you have root sounds. From the root sounds, you have like primary, secondary, tertiary root sounds. Then root words, then usable words. So root, any noun also comes from the root sound.
But most of them are mostly verbs which show what that noun does.
No,
And
noun
then
has its own role, but the source of noun is a verbal root.
A verb, yeah, that's what I meant. The root is dependent on the verb, what
Yes.
it does.
What?
The root is generally a verb which
Verb
shows
root.
what that noun does.
Root is not verb. Verb has a root, noun also has its
root.
its root.
But
It's not you can say verbal root, which gives birth to verbs also, verbal form also, nominal form also. For example, you say ni, nayati is a verbal form, and nayanam is a verbal noun. Okay, it's a noun. Okay. Or netru, neta, you have a.
But every noun has a verbal.
Every
root.
word in Sanskrit has a root.
And the root
Has a
is,
root sound.
And it shows us what it does. Mostly.
Yes, it shows what are the experiences associated with it. So now similarly, you have the word mantra. So here tra means it like it's a tool, it's an instrument, very powerful instrument, which has the power to make the mind contemplate. Man means to contemplate. Usually our mind is in a very different, diffused, dispersed state. Okay, मन अभी यहाँ है, फिर एक moment में कहीं और होगा. It's just not concentrated state. So it brings into a focus. Okay. Now tra is instrument also, like you have a root sound trai, trana. This also has the connection, like why tra as a suffix brings out the sense of instrument, because trai is again to protect, to save, जो त्राण करता है, रक्षा करता है. So anything which protects us, helps us in something becomes our tool, our instrument. So trai means like it protects the mind. It makes the mind, protection means like it makes the mind free from all its compulsion, all its rigidity, all its dispersion, all the vagaries that the mind has. It makes it free and then brings it into a state of silence. So that's what is the power of mantra, and that is what is the meaning of the mantra, which is there in the word itself, right? So when a rishi is in a deep state of contemplation, and there is a vision of the truth, or there is a hearing of the truth. So in that silent consciousness, the truth that descends, remember there is no the truth, it can be a small aspect of the truth, some aspect of the truth, which is manifesting, and the Rishi is visualizing it clearly, pratyaksha. Okay. So that's why he does the pratyaksha darshana of the satya. Okay. So he is seeing directly the truth. Okay. So in that pratyaksha darshana, what happens, that whole content creates the vibration in his consciousness, and those vibratory movements, they become self-organized in the form of sounds, bringing that experience, that realization which is happening. Those self-organized vibratory patterns, rhythmic, intense vibratory patterns are available to us in the form of mantras. Okay. So when you come in contact with any mantra consciously, that mantra is linking you with, connecting you with the experience which gave birth to that pattern. Okay, those sound form. So it is the realization, it is the experience in sound form, in a rhythmic form. Okay. So you can say that Satya Anubhuti, or Satya Upalabdhi, has a shabdika form of its own, has a sound form of its own. And that sound form has the power to connect you with that Anubhuti, with that Upalabdhi. But to get connected with that Upalabdhi, so one has to rise to that level of oneself, rise in that level in consciousness, to that state in which state it got revealed. So that is why if you want to understand the mantra which is revealed to a rishi, you have to raise yourself to become a rishi. Only in a state of rishihood you can realize or get connected with the mantra. Only a rishi can understand the rishi. Without being a rishi, Veda mantras will not be having any sense. So therefore, many intellectuals who try to give some kind of meaning to the Veda mantras, you don't find it. It's all distortion. They try to play with mantra, manipulate the meaning or draw some meaning. But at the same time, therefore, keeping in mind the different states of consciousness, dealing with the mantra, see, I may be in an adhibhautika level. That means for me, I am more concerned about the adhibhuta, means the material, whatever materially available to me. So when one is concerned about only with the material world, adhibhuta, so all the senses that one will draw from anything, that becomes adhibhautika. If someone is concerned only with the adhibhautika and there are non-material forces, adhidaivika, you don't know, like we have no control over the adhidaivika forces, they are non-material forces regulating, operating in the universe, regulating so many things, influencing so many things, adhidaivika forces, they are non-material forces. But if someone is always concerning with the adhidaivika world, so draws the sense, adhidaivika sense from everything, then there is adhyatmika, that one who is concerned with the Atman, the spirit, the self. Okay. So that is the adhyatmika. If one is concerned with the spirit, so he draws, like an adhyatmic person will always draw adhyatmic sense from everything. So therefore, the Veda also has these three levels of meanings. Every mantra is operating at three levels: adhibhautika level, adhidaivika level, and adhyatmika level. Okay. So please remember these three words: adhibhautika, adhidaivika, and adhyatmika. Right. So everything can be interpreted in these three senses. But what is again given to us by the rishis, that one should not remain confined only to one state. Okay. If you are exclusively concentrated on anything, then more ignorance is created in you. So ignorance, therefore, Sri Aurobindo says it very clearly, ignorance is the result of exclusive concentration. You may be exclusively concentrated on something good. That's why the Ishopanishad, it says, all those who are concentrated on avidya go to a world of darkness, and all those who are concentrated on vidya go to a greater darkness. Okay? That's a very complex paradoxical meaning. It happens because of the exclusive concentration. So, therefore, our tradition accepts all kinds of meanings. It accepts the Adhibhautika. That's why you can have a geographical interpretation of the Veda. You can have a scientific interpretation of the Veda. You can have a ritualistic interpretation of the Veda. You can have an esoteric spiritual interpretation of the Veda. You can have a adhidaivik, non-material interpretation of the Veda. Okay, whatever is happening in the space, cosmos. So that's how all other subjects, any subject, they all will fall into these three levels. Adhibhautika. So whatever subjects we are studying as a part of our education, physics, chemistry, mathematics, language, anything. So you can divide all of them, all the Vidyasthanas, Vidyakshetras, you can group them under Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika and Adhyatmika. Right? So that is why they say Veda, Akhila, Jnana, Moolam, Akhila, Dharma, Moolam. So it is the Moola, it is the source, it is the root of all Dharma, all Jnana. Okay? So any kind of knowledge, you can find it in the Veda. Because some of you had this question, why Veda is the source of all knowledge? Why they say that everything is there in the Veda? Okay. So the knowledge which has revealed, so it can be interpreted in different levels because it contains within itself all the layers of meanings. So that's the beauty of the mantra, right? So anything that you find in the Veda Samhita, the content, the text is called the mantra. And the power of, I explained you the meaning of the mantra. So mantra is not something you can say that, okay, I wrote few mantras. No, that's a wrong sentence. No one can write mantras. Okay, you can write poetry. Okay. But when your poetry is coming from a very higher level of consciousness, it can be a mantric poetry. The poetry having the force of the mantra. Okay. But the very nature of the mantra is that it gets revealed. Revealed to whom? Revealed to a rishi. Who is a rishi? Who is endowed with the antardrishti, antashruti and viveka. So drishti, shruti, viveka sampanna rishi. So one who has these three things is a rishi. How does he attain to that state? By the power of tapas, bahushrutya, daksha and so many other aspects which are a part of the sadhana, the inner discipline, right? So this mantra, when you go to the content, most of the mantras that you find in the Rig Veda, they are in the form of invocation. So many deities are invoked, okay? Like we have Durga, we have Kali, we have Saraswati, we have Lakshmi, we have so many other gods and goddesses, Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, Indra. So in the Veda, and especially in the Rig Veda, you will find hundreds of godheads. Agni, Indra, Mitra, Varuna, Aryama, Bhaga, Saraswati, Ila, Mahi, Bharati, Dakshina, Sarama, Marudgana, you have Vishnu, you have Pashupati, you have Rudra, so many aspects of the divine in different forms. So you will find their invocations in the mantra, in the mantra form, in these mantras in Rig Veda. So these invocations also, like when we talk about so many deities, so many forms of the Godheads, who are these? Do they have any form? No. In the Veda you will not find that how did Agni look, how did Indra look, although there are descriptions of their physical forms. But It's very difficult if you translate those things into material or physical forms, right? They are all symbolic. They are all symbolic. And all these deities are part of our consciousness. So when we talk about the transformation of consciousness, so it is by invoking these different gods and goddesses, by invoking these different deities in the Veda through the mantras, we are allowing those deities to grow in us, to exercise their power in us, right? They are all part of our consciousness. Like Agni is our Divya Sankalpa Shakti. Agni is the divine willpower. Okay. So the one who has a strong willpower, we say, no, look, he carries fire in his belly. He is a fiery personality. Oh, his willpower is so strong. He is like Swami Vivekananda. We say he is a firebrand Swami. Okay. उसके अंदर तो आग ही आग है. ठीक है. So that is what is the power of Agni. So he is directly dealing with our willpower. Strong divine willpower, which takes us forward always. Similarly, Indra is the deity who is concerned with all our senses and especially mind. He is the divine mind. By invoking Indra, we are going beyond all our senses and then experiencing the purity of mind. And in that divine state of mind, the things can descend into. Okay, if the mind is not free from the clutches of these senses, on refined senses, then the mind also cannot do anything, because it's also an instrument of knowledge. It's not a creator of knowledge. Knowledge can manifest through that. It's an instrument, right? So Indra deals with that. So like this, every deity in the Veda, symbolically, is a representative of some part of our consciousness. So that is why when we come in contact with the Veda mantras, coming in contact with these different deities, so we are actually understanding ourselves more than what we understand ourselves. So it is a text at present, like the Samhita is a text which contains the experiences, the realizations of the rishis, which help us understand like how these rishis attained to this realization, and then how we can attain to that state. So the realization is again presented in the form of many stories, many legends, but these are highly symbolic. Unless and until you understand the symbolism behind it, very difficult to understand these stories or the content of the Veda. So before I give you the deeper symbolism, let me tell you the story, the legend that we are going to deal with. This is a legend which is of the story of lost cows, the story of Angirasa rishis and their lost cows. So what is the story we are going to listen? Lost cows of whom? Angirasa rishis. Okay. So please note Angirasa rishis and the story of their lost cows. Right. So now there is a group of rishis. They are known as Angirasa rishis. They are the seekers of truth. They are the seekers of truth. And suddenly one day it happened that they found their cows are lost. Who found? Angirasa rishis found. What's lost? Their cows are lost. And they have no clue where their cows have disappeared. But suddenly they found that the cows are lost. So what did they do? So what is the next step when we find something is lost? So what is the next step? That we have to make an investigation. Who will make the investigation? Only the authorized people can do the investigation, who know how to conduct investigation, those who know the science and art of it, right? So in the Veda, Indra is that authority. If anything is lost, you invoke Indra. Anything happens, you invoke Indra. And in our consciousness also, like if anything is happening, we consult our mind, right? So mind has to tell us where things are happening. You apply, you say na, अरे मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है क्या होगा? अरे apply your mind. You apply your mind, right? So Indra is the representative deity of the mind. Mind in all aspects, and it in its divine aspect, in its pure aspect. So Indra was consulted. By whom? By the Angirasa Rishis. How do they consult? What is the way? Like if you want to consult the DG, Director General of Police, there is a process by which you have to consult, right? So there was a process, you cannot just directly call Indra. So there has to be yajna. Yajna was that process, right? So yajna means what? Another important word that you all should remember. Yajna is not just a fire ritual. Yajna. If you concentrate on the word yajna and its various usages in the Veda and the real secret of it, so yaj means to give. Give without any reservation, without any hesitation. It is a voluntary giving, selfless giving. You say na nishkam seva, nishkam bhav se do, satvik dan, right? So you give yourself. This giving can be outer giving also and inward giving also. Like inwardly you offer all your problems, all your shortcomings, that you refer it to the God, you surrender yourself inwardly. That's also yajna. And Gita, you will listen more about it on 14th, day after tomorrow when we do the Gita, about like how Gita has made very simple and practical this idea of yajna. It says like when you give some dana, that is also yajna. When you do swadhyaya, that is also yajna. When a teacher is teaching in the classroom, that is also yajna. When someone is cooking food, that is also yajna. So every aspect of our life, every action is a yajna. And every action has to be performed with the spirit of a yajna. So what did this Angirasa Rishis do? They invoked the presence of Indra in the form of yajna. And then when you invite a guest, ask someone, so now the DG has come to your place to do investigation. What do? So you do the satkar, right? The atithi satkar. You have a proper seat for them, some drinks, something like you offer to them. So the same way, now Indra's presence is there. So how Indra has to be received, how he is to be welcomed. So they offer him something, that is what was known as Soma Rasa. So Indra becomes very happy when he gets the Soma Rasa. Okay, now Soma Rasa, don't link it with the present day drink, liquors. No, it is a different meaning. It was a different kind of prapanaka, different kind of rasa which was offered to them. It has an outer meaning, it has a very deep symbolic meaning which we will deal later. Now Indra was offered Soma Rasa. Now it is said that when Indra gets the Soma Rasa, he becomes very powerful, he becomes exalted, and then he becomes very powerful. And once Indra becomes powerful, all your problem is solved. Now Indra was given Soma Rasa. Now Indra, like your DG, police, comes with its troop. And then for the investigation, which animal usually the police people carry with them? Dog, right? Why do they carry dog? Good. The same way you find the story, and where from they got the clue that we have to have dogs, they have this idea. It's natural, okay? So you can understand. So in the Veda, Indra, when he comes for any investigation, he comes with a dog, okay? With a female dog. And that dog in the Veda is known as Sarama. What is the name? Sarama. So Indra comes with Sarama. Now Indra will not do the investigation directly. Who will do the investigation? Sarama. Okay, the dog will find out. So Sarama is usually translated in the English translation as a heavenly hound. Okay, heavenly hound, which is the dog of Indra. Now Sarama is brought, now Sarama is engaged. Indra is powerful, has drunk the Somarasa, right? Now Sarama is brought, released. Now Sarama goes running, and then he discovers a very dark cave where the cows are hidden. Where he finds? In a dark cave. And someone must have stolen. So there is a group of who you know? Robbers, the dacoits, who rob the cows. Okay, who steal the cows. So Sarama discovered them. There are three of them, three types, and they are all together when they are stealing the cows. Okay, so who are these three? One is Pani, write down Pani, Pani, Pani. One is Vritra, 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 and the other one is Dasyu. So Pani, Vritra and Dasyu are the three robbers who steal the cows. And where do they hide? They hide it in the darkest cave, right? Now Sarama could locate that cave, could locate who are these robbers, the Pani, Vritra, Dasyu, and then comes back and informs Indra about the location and about the robbers. Now Indra goes with his weapon, Vajra, right? Indra's weapon is Vajra. So with that Vajra he goes, he conquers these enemies, Pani, Vritra and Dasyu, and recovers the lost cows for Angirasa Rishis. This is the story. And this story is extremely important, and this is central to the Vedic vision. We will discuss about it, the Vedic vision of life in detail in the next session. But this is what is, like if someone asks you what is there in the Rig Veda, just remember this story. Through this single story, you can explain the entire content of Rig Veda. Okay, the Vedic idea, what is central to the Veda. Now this is a highly symbolic story. So we will understand one by one who are these characters. The first one is Angirasa Rishi. Now I told you like who is a Rishi. The Rishi means like by the power of tapas he has already attained to the Rishitva. But it doesn't guarantee that a Rishi will not face any problem. The Rishi will not have any ignorance. Okay? The Rishi can face with many challenges, can face many problems. So that's why like many times people say, oh, he is a Rishi type person, but why is he suffering so much? Why did Ramakrishna suffer? Why did Ramana Maharshi suffer? Why did Sri Aurobindo suffer? So many yogis, so many rishis, in spite of so much of adhyatmic force with them, knowledge with them, why do they suffer? It's again another story. It doesn't guarantee that you will not suffer just because you have attained to Rishitva. There is always a chance of falling from your own state of consciousness. Not that all those rishis whom I mentioned, they fell from their state of consciousness, that is why they suffered. No, that's a different story. But I am telling that it's a path. The rishi himself accepts that it is kshurasya dhara. It's like walking on the edge of a sword. You have to be extremely careful, extremely careful. Utmost sincerity one has to have. High attentiveness one has to have to walk on the path of Adhyatma, right? So now, you see, these rishis, Angirasa rishis, why they are called Angirasa rishis? Now the word Agni, Angira, Angara, Angirasa, these are all similar words, okay, come from the same root sound. So Angirasa rishis are those in the Veda who are the seekers of truth. So beside Angirasa rishi, you write, put a hyphen or dash, write, they are the seekers of truth. They intensely seek for truth. They want to find out the truth, the seekers of truth. So they are on the path to find out the truth of everything. Okay? So these are called Angirasa rishis. Like suppose you carry that aspiration, your flame of aspiration is intense, and then you want to realize the truth. You are seeking after the truth, you are a Angira rishi. Okay, someone who is on the path also will be called rishi. Someone who has realized also will be called rishi, right? So, in whichever position you may be, for example, like you take someone who has passed IAS exam, all IAS officers will not be in the same position. They will be taking different positions. So, the same way the rishis, there can be young rishis, new rishis, old rishis. So, they are whoever is on the path is also called a rishi. So, Angirasa rishis are the rishis, young aspirants who are seeking after truth. Now, while seeking after the truth, it happens, it's a part of the sadhana that suddenly or many times you find everything hopeless, everything dark, something is stolen from us. The light which you are seeking after, the truth which you are seeking after, the amount of light and truth that you have already possessed, suddenly you find that they are all stolen. You are in a state of darkness. Okay, that's what happened with the Angirasa rishis. They found that their cows are lost. So cow, we discussed about it, the word cow doesn't mean actually the cow. Okay, so cow means the truth, the light, the force. Okay, so that truth is lost. Whatever they acquired by the power of their tapasya, whatever little possession they had of light and truth, it is lost. So they are worried. They are again intensely seeking to bring back that light by performing yajna, by intensifying their sadhana, by invoking the power of Indra. Right? Got it? Till this point clear? I move ahead? Okay. So now, the cows are lost means the truth is lost, the light is lost. Now they are lost on the path. They don't know which road to take. Now they invoke Indra. So Indra is our mind, the highest mind, which alone has the power to link with other higher realms, right? So without consulting Indra, one cannot go beyond. Indra is always there at the main gate of heaven. Okay, so you want to go heaven, you have to consult Indra. And anyone who has tried, it's not that people didn't try to escape Indra. There was Agastya who tried to go beyond Indra, go beyond the divine mind, and then have direct entry into higher worlds. So he was hit by Indra. So he said, what wrong I am doing? I am doing something good, that I want to go to the higher worlds. Why are you hitting me? Natural, no? You are not doing anything wrong. You want to go to the higher world. Why Indra is hitting you? Indra said, no, I am not hitting you to stop you. I am there to help you to attain to that higher world. But you can't bypass me. If you bypass me, you will face a lot of problems there. That's why I am there. You have to take my help. Okay, like this there are many beautiful stories which explains and which are very, very practical if you contemplate on the inner journey. The Veda is all about our inner journey. Veda is all about the story of transformation, the story of rising from that man animal to the man divine. Okay, so now what happens? Indra, that divine mind, becomes very happy with the Soma rasa. Now what is that Soma? Soma, physically you can say that it is the rasa of some creeper which is squeezed to get the rasa and then physically it's given. It's the adhibhautika meaning. But the adhyatmika meaning is that whenever you do any offering to anyone, if it is not done with full ananda, then it's not fruitful. So offering soma means like you are giving yourself, you are surrendering, submitting yourself to the deity with ananda, with joy. With joy. This complete surrender in the sense of soma. The one who is offering is in ananda, to whom it is offered, that is also full of ananda. Right? So that is what is understood by soma. Soma means amrita, soma means ananda. So the word soma, ananda, amrita are synonymous in the Vedic context. Okay. So you are offering, you are joyfully offering yourself, submitting yourself, seeking help from the higher forces. So that's how Indra is invoked with soma. And when Indra is invoked with soma, see, when there is joy in the right sense in the higher mind, in the divine mind, right? So what happens? From the higher worlds, what lies beyond the mind, okay? So for that, again, like you have to understand the different parts of our being, different layers of our being. So mind is not just one component. It has so many layers, from the most physical mind to the most spiritual mind, right? So you have the mind, you have a sense mind, you have a reasoning mind, you have a thinking mind, okay? Then beyond that you have higher mind, you have an illumined mind, you have intuitive mind, you have overmind, then you have supermind, right? So when there is a divine exaltation in the bliss in the mind, right? So what happens? From the higher world of intuition comes the message. Okay, so the world of intuition comes the right message about the truth, because that intuitive mind is aware of the whereabout of the truth, right? So this Sarama, the heavenly hound, is a symbol of the intuitive mind, intuition. But this intuition, what is the role of intuition? The role of intuition that it can only inform. It has the knowledge of the truth, whereabout of the truth, but it cannot recover the truth. It can only inform. Inform to whom? To the refined mind, to the divine mind, to the pure mind. Those people say, na, like I intuitively got it. Don't listen to them. There can be many flashes. Many ideas can flash in the mind. Those are not intuition. Intuition is a very big thing. Okay. So when the mind is in a purest state, so the messages descend from the world of intuition. And only that pure divine mind can recognize that message and take note of it and then execute accordingly. Okay. If the mind is in an impure state, it cannot do anything. That is why Indra. So when Sarama, from the world of intuition, it comes that, okay, you are searching for the truth, the light, but the truth is hidden in the cave of inconscience. अज्ञान की गुफा में वो ज्ञान छुपा हुआ है. Okay, in the cave of darkest cave of inconscience. Now the truth is lost. So from there it has to be recovered. How does it happen? How does it happen that suddenly a man of knowledge again falls into the state of inconscience? फिर अज्ञान में डूब जाता है. How? Because there are many forces, dark forces. And the rishis could see clearly in our consciousness three important negative forces. First one is Pani. Pani. Pronounce it? Pani. So Pani is that force in us, and it's naturally there, it's a part of our consciousness. So Pani is the transactional force. आप कभी मार्केट में जाते हो, बार्गेनिंग करते हो किसके साथ? रिक्शा वाला के साथ, टैक्सी के साथ, मार्केट में कोई आया घर में बेचने कुछ, है ना, सब्जी वाला, बार्गेनिंग करते हैं ना हम। क्यों करते हैं बार्गेनिंग? वाई डू यू गेट इंस्पायर्ड टू बार्गेन, नेगोशिएट? हाँ, क्योंकि वहां पे ट्रस्ट नहीं है। आपको ये नहीं लगता है कि ये सही रेट में दे रहा है, ठीक है, वो ट्रस्ट नहीं रहता है। और जो बेचने आता है उसको भी मालूम है, उसको भी ट्रस्ट नहीं है, वो अगर राइट दाम बोले तो कोई राइट दाम में ले लेगा, इसलिए वो बढ़ा चढ़ा कर बोलते हैं। सो दोनों में लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट, ये पणी एस्पेक्ट जो है ना वो सबके अंदर है, वो लैक ऑफ ट्रस्ट एंड नेगोशिएटिंग ट्रांजैक्शन करने वाला फोर्स जो है वो पणी है। इसलिए जो मनी को पणम कहते हैं, बिजनेस को पण्य, पण्य वस्तु, जो भी मतलब हम बोलते हैं ना कि मार्केट में वर्थ ट्रेडिंग मटेरियल्स जो होते हैं उसको पण्य वस्तु कहते हैं, ठीक है। विपणी, आपण, आपण का मतलब है दुकान, विपणी का मतलब है मार्केट, ये सब पण, जहाँ पे पणम मतलब मनी का ट्रांजैक्शन होता है, ये सब पणी वर्ड है। वो जहाँ पे ट्रांजैक्शन, नेगोशिएशन, बार्गेनिंग ये सब है, ट्रस्ट नहीं है वहाँ पे, ठीक है। सो ये पणी एस्पेक्ट है हमारे कॉन्शियसनेस के भीतर, नेचुरली वी फॉल इनटू दैट। सो पणी कैन ट्रिगर and hide your trust, hide your knowledge. Okay, and why do you lack trust? Again, that because of ajnan, because of lack of knowledge, proper knowledge, lack of the knowledge of the truth. Okay, so you do that. So Pani does that always. The moment there is something you start, even we start negotiating with God. कि भगवान ये कर दो, तुमको 2 तोला सोना दे दूंगा, 100 ब्राह्मण को खिला दूंगा। We pamper the God also. Again, transaction. It is of such a nature that it can even challenge the divine, do this negotiation with the divine, finally cancel the negotiation also. You know that story, no? Someone went up to a tree, then was unable to come down. He said, भगवान मुझे नीचे पहुंचा दो, मैं 100 रुपया दे दूंगा आपको, 100 रुपये का प्रसाद चढ़ा दूंगा। बहुत मेहनत करके आधा रास्ता आया, बोला भगवान ने किया बेकार ही 100 रुपया मैंने बोल दिया, 50 रुपया दूंगा। तो ऐसे करके के नीचे तक जब आया पूरा कैंसिल है, बोला भगवान ने क्या किया, मैं तो मेहनत करके नीचे आया, मैं क्यों उनको। तो ये ट्रांजैक्शन हम हर किसी के साथ करते हैं, डिवाइन के साथ भी हम प्ले कर लेते हैं, हमारा गेम खेल लेते हैं, है ना, बिकॉज इट्स अ वेरी वेरी रॉन्ग फोर्स इन आवर कॉन्शियसनेस। ये पणी है। ये एक शत्रु हो गया। फिर दूसरा शत्रु कौन है? हाँ, ये वाइटल, ये सब में है, फिजिकल में भी है, वाइटल में भी है, बिकॉज एज लॉन्ग एज दे आर नॉट इन प्योर स्टेट, these forces can start playing. Okay, so that's why the shuddhata, आधार शुद्धि is needed. शुद्धि in the physical, शुद्धि in the vital, शुद्धि in the mental, so it's needed. So ये पणी हो गया। नेक्स्ट कौन है? वृत्र। वृत्र, वृत्र क्या होता है? देखो, बहुत से समय आपका चश्मा आंखों में लगा हुआ होगा या सर पे लगा हुआ होगा, आप घर में सबको गालियां दे रहे कि मेरा चश्मा कहाँ गया। These vritras, they keep hiding things from you. These are, like they play, they bring these occult elements. So in front of your eyes, the thing is there, but you don't see it. Things are hidden from you. It happens at every level. Every level. So they always hide things. So that's why, the luka chupi. Where from that game comes? It naturally happens. Whatever naturally happens to us, ना, so there is a truth in it. क्यों आता है हमारे consciousness में कि हम लुका छुपी कर ले? कोई आता है तो छुप जाता है, ठीक है? Naturally, and we enjoy that. There is an enjoyment. So the pani also enjoys doing its work. Vritra enjoys its work. सब कुछ मतलब छुपा देते हैं। आपको लगे कि क्या रे, मैंने ये वर्ड देखा था कहीं, अभी अभी देखा था। Oh my God, this is a passage, beautiful passage I read somewhere today, but you will not able to find. The same book, it is right in front of you, will not find. 50 बार आप प्रूफ रीडिंग करो, ओके, book is printed, the big title has a mistake. Right on the front page you will find that array T is missing. ये कैसे हो गया? This is the Vrutra. So if you are not completely vigilant, alert, these forces can take over and then start playing their games. It's all the play of forces. So Vrutra जो है वो हमारे पास से सारे ज्ञान को, सब कुछ को, सत्य को हमेशा छिपा देता है हमसे. सत्य हमारे सामने है पर वो छिपा देगा. आपको समझ में नहीं आएगा कि यही था, कहाँ गया. So that is the play of the Vrutra, the Shatru. It's also Shatru. Then you have the most खतरनाक दस्यु. दस्यु सीधा मार देता है आपको, ठीक है. एंड इन एन आध्यात्मिक सेंस क्या मारता है वो? इट किल्स आवर स्पिरिट. मतलब दस्यु एकदम स्पिरिट खत्म कर देता है. हमारे स्वधर्म है, हमारे स्वभाव है, हमको एकदम हमारे स्वधर्म से मिटा देता है. जैसे अर्जुन को हुआ, वो क्षत्रिय है पर किसने किया ये काम? दस्यु ने किया. His spirit was completely killed. पूरा एकदम नपुंसक बना दिया उसको. सब कुछ छोड़ छाड़ के वो बैठ गया कि मैं युद्ध नहीं करूंगा. ये दस्यु का खेल है. इट किल्स अवर स्पिरिट. वो सीधा मार देता है. हमारे अंदर की जो डायनामिज्म है, जो भी दृढ़ता है, सब कुछ को खत्म कर देता है. तो ऐसे स्टेज में पहुंचा देता है, बोलते हैं कि अब नहीं, नाउ आई हैव टू किल माई सेल्फ. ये स्टेज में बहुत सारे लोग सुसाइड कर देते हैं ये दस्यु की वजह से. एंड इफ यू हैव दैट एब्सोल्यूट विजिलेंस, अलर्टनेस, if you are सावधान, attentive of all this, nothing will happen to you. Okay. So dasyu, das का मतलब है to kill. Das means to kill. Okay. So pani, vrutra and dasyu, ये तीन important enemies है. And now just imagine, so many thousands and thousands of years before, the rishis could realize and then see these dasyus. See where? See within oneself. And that is what they have given to us as the Veda. Now you tell me, we have this question, why should we study Veda which was written so many thousands of years before? The rishis have not written a story which is only specific to a particular time or place or people. They're eternal. It's relevant for ages. As long as human consciousness is here, as long as we are progressing on the path of evolution, okay, the consciousness is moving forward, the Veda will remain relevant, the Upanishad will remain relevant, the Gita will remain relevant, many Shastras will remain relevant because they deal with the core aspect of everything. So, where to deal? We have to deal with the Vrutras, Panis, Dasyus. Where are they? They are within ourselves. They are within ourselves. Remain vigilant, you can see them clearly. You can see how they are playing with you. Challenge them. You can challenge them. They can't do anything. That is what is called the sadhana. So now what do? They kill you, kill your spirit, they hide things from you, they do the transaction, then finally they put you in that cave of darkness, where you say you are frustrated, you are dejected, you are depressed, and then you say like, where is light, where is truth? जो कुछ मैंने कमाया था वो गया कहाँ? But when again you become vigilant, start invoking the divinity within, then you will be shown the path where the light lies, where is the truth. Then there is a recovery of the truth. But it's a slow process. It doesn't happen instantly. So that's why never ask in the path of Adhyatma that can there be instant siddhi? Instantly can it happen? No. It can happen in a shorter period of time It depends upon the intensity with which you are approaching. Okay? The sincerity with which you are approaching. And what is that sincerity? Because every rishi was sincere. In spite of that great sincerity, there are so many problems which were faced by the rishis. This is a part of our consciousness. And our journey is like a pyramid. Okay? Every time you will find people at every stage. You will find people at every stage. All those who have accelerated the process and have reached the peak level, they are at the highest level. But it doesn't mean that these people are worst. They also have a chance to reach. But when to reach depends upon with what intensity, with what sincerity, with what dedication and purity you are approaching or walking on the path. Okay. And once you arrive at a peak, so that is a Satya Yuga for you. There is no Satya Yuga in general. All the yugas are present at every moment. All the 4 yugas are within each yuga. Okay, someone is at the Satya, someone is at the Treta, someone is at the Dwapara, someone is at the Kali. And it's a constant happening. It's not that there was a Satya Yuga when things happened. You cannot measure it by time. The time frame that you see was not the time frame, there's so many lakhs of years, no. The Vedic time, like Yuga was only 5 years. Each Yuga was 5 years. So there are different calculations, like how that 5 became 5 lakh or 4 lakh, so that's a different calculation. It all depends upon our sincerity. It is because of the sincerity of the Angirasa rishis that they could recover the lost truth, lost light, lost force. If there was no sincerity, had there been no sincerity, they would not have got it. So that is why many people, they remain. They fall into the state of inconscience and they remain there. They enjoy that. Chalo aur kuch nahi hoga. Sab bekar ki baatein hain. Okay. But there are people who do not leave it. They keep persistently, they go ahead. So that is why the first session, what I said, that progress, which is also another name of divine, another power of divine, another work of divine, another guna of divine. So progress is the very aim of our life. Okay. So that's what we learn here, that keep, charei veti. Keep going, charei veti, charan vai madhuvindate. So it is while moving on the path that you can get a little rasa of that amrita, that madhu, that honey you will get, that ananda, that soma you will get. So that's why keep walking. Do not step back, do not get stuck. Stagnation is not life, movement is life. That's why the mother said, progress, the very purpose for which we are on the earth. The very purpose for which we are on the earth. So that is our greatest goal, progress. Then our little goals, aims, must be in alignment with that greater purpose. Okay. But how do we make a progress? The entire Veda is dedicated for that, Upanishad is dedicated for that, Gita is dedicated for that. But still we do not understand what is to be done, what are the stages. The mother has very simple manner, has explained to us how do we make progress, what is needed to progress on the path. So she speaks of the 4 stages of progress. The very first stage of progress is, what does it mean? Progress, the word, let's concentrate on the word. What does progress mean? What does progress mean? To move forward. Yeah, there are people who keep moving forward, but nothing happens. Yeah, evolution. If you don't do anything also, evolution will happen. It will happen. Change. Like in moving forward, if you don't find change in you, yeah, transform. If yes, if the transformation is not happening, the change is not happening, then it's not a progress. So progress is a forward movement which brings transformation, which brings change. Okay. So someone came and scolded Buddha. Buddha didn't say anything. And then that night, that person who abused couldn't sleep properly. Next day, he went to the Buddha. He said, I'm sorry, yesterday I came and then I abused you. So he didn't say anything, Buddha. So when he forced him that, why are you not saying anything? I'm repenting. He said, like, you have come to a wrong person. Buddha said, you have come to a wrong person. He said, the Buddha whom you scolded yesterday is not the same Buddha who is sitting before you. Because yesterday's Buddha, today's Buddha is different from yesterday's Buddha. He said, that's why you are approaching to a wrong person. Right? So we have to measure our.
गौतम बुद्ध ने कि जिस नदी में स्नान कर रहे थे वो नदी बह गई.
हाँ.
और जो व्यक्ति स्नान कर रहा था वो व्यक्ति भी अब नहीं है. तो both have changed, yes. Both have transformed.
So change, transformation is the key, is central to progress. Now there is a problem with this whole idea of transformation or change. There are many people who do not believe in change. वो क्या बोलते हैं? वो बोलते हैं कि हम कौन है चेंज करने वाले? अगर भगवान ने ऐसे ही दुनिया बनाया है, if everything is predetermined, भगवान ने ही सब कुछ बनाया है, मैं अगर चेंज करना चाहूँ तो भगवान में काम में मैं बाधा दे रहा हूँ, तो आई एम इंटरफियरिंग इन द डिवाइन्स प्लान. इसलिए कोई ये सब चेंज वेंज की बातें जो है वो बेकार है. ठीक है, ये एक ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल है जो चेंज नहीं चाहते हैं और ऐसे बात करते हैं. ठीक है, बोले ये जो चेंज बोलते हो ना वो सब कुछ नहीं होने वाला है, इट्स लाइक डॉग्स टेल, जितना भी करो वो सेम ही रहोगे, चेंज नहीं है. एंड देयर आर सो मेनी पीपल हु आर लाइक दिस, दे डोंट एक्सेप्ट चेंज. So that is why the mother said the very first stage of progress is, okay, the very first stage of progress is you must be convinced that the change can happen. The conviction. You must be convinced that the change can happen. That's the first stage. Repeat. You must be convinced that that change can happen. So first thing necessary for the progress is an utmost conviction. Okay, conviction. Great faith that yes, change can happen. That trust. And that is what is called Shraddha. वो Shraddha, that utmost, like faith or trust that change can happen. But mere conviction will not do. Okay, I am convinced the change can happen, but still the change will not happen because there is something else which is needed. I am convinced that the change can happen, but I don't do anything about it. I have no willingness to change. So if you have no willingness to change, then no one can change you. Even God cannot change you. So willingness to change is the second stage, sankalpa. Okay? That मैं संकल्प ले रहा हूँ कि मैं अपने को चेंज करते ही रहूँगा. If change is possible, then change can happen. Like Sri Aurobindo wrote to his wife in his letter that I know that God exists. If He exists, then I must see Him. Look at the sankalpa. If God exists, then I must see Him. I am ready to do anything to see Him, but I must see Him. That's the sankalpa. Okay? The willingness to change. That's the second stage. Repeat. First stage is conviction, the change can happen. Second stage, willingness to change. Yes, I have the conviction, I have the willingness to change, I am putting a lot of effort to change, but still there is a risk that change may not happen. Why? There are so many obstacles on the path, so many challenges on the path. What happens when we have obstacles? Many people give up. Many people give it up. Step back. That और नहीं हो पाएगा. So the mother says that the third important stage is persist in your will in spite of all obstacles and challenges, all failures. Persist in your will. The third stage is a persistent will, whatever the obstacle may be. Okay, there is a beautiful verse in Sanskrit written by Bhartruhari. Okay, Bhartruhari. You all have read Devabhasha, right? देवभाषा संस्कृत पढ़ते हो ना यहाँ पे, देवभाषा. हर एक देवभाषा की पुस्तक में पहला श्लोक क्या है? नहीं, वो भी नहीं, प्रार्थना से भी पहले केयुराणी न भूषयन्ते. किसने लिखा है उसको? भर्तृहरि ने लिखा है, राइट? सो भर्तृहरि इज ए नेम शुड हैव बीन एट द टिप ऑफ योर टंग बिकॉज इज द फर्स्ट श्लोक यू मीट इन देवभाषा, राइट? सो केयुराणी न भूषयन्ते. वो कहाँ पे लिखा है? वो जो टेक्स्ट है वो नीति शतक है. ओके, नीति शतक. तो वहाँ पे लिखते हैं भर्तृहरि कि 3 तरह के लोग होते हैं. ओके, इसको समझने के लिए ना जो माता जी समझा रहे थे, जो स्टेजेस ऑफ प्रोग्रेस, तो भर्तृहरि बोलते हैं कि 3 तरह के लोग होते हैं. एक होते हैं अधम, एक होते हैं मध्यम, एक होते हैं उत्तम. ओके, अधम मतलब जो एकदम लोएस्ट कैटेगरी के हैं, वर्स्ट. जो मीडियोकर है वो मध्यम है, जो बेस्ट है, एक्सीलेंट है, वो उत्तम है. तो इन लोगों को कैसे हम पहचानें? साइंस एंड सिम्टम्स क्या है? वो बोलते हैं कि जो अधम लोग हैं, दे आर इन लेथर्जी, दे डोंट इनिशिएट, दे डोंट वॉलंटियर, दे डोंट डू एनीथिंग. भाई क्यों कीचड़ में जाना है, क्यों पैर धोना है? जो चल रहा है वो चल रहा है. द फर्स्ट एग्जाम्पल दैट आई गेव कि क्या करना है हमें, चेंज तो होने वाला नहीं है, वो तो भगवान का काम है, वो देख लेंगे, मैं कौन हूँ. सो वो अधम है. इस प्रकार का भाव जिसके अंदर है ना, वो अधम है. सो नेवर अलाउ सच भाव विद इन योर सेल्फ दैट नथिंग कैन हैपन, एनीथिंग कैन हैपन. वी हैव दैट एबिलिटी इन अस. फिर मध्यम लोग जो है क्या करते हैं, जो ये स्टेज बता रहे हैं ना कि मध्यम लोग जो है दे टेक इनिशिएटिव, बट एनी ऑब्स्टेकल कम्स दे विल स्टेप बैक, देन टेक अनदर इनिशिएटिव. फिर कुछ दूसरा आ गया, यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम है लखनऊ में, छोड़ के हिमालय चला जाऊंगा. हिमालय में कुछ और प्रॉब्लम आया, फिर खुद को समझाते हैं कम से कम वो वाला प्रॉब्लम तो नहीं है लखनऊ वाला. पर वो प्रॉब्लम हमारे अंदर है. डिपेंडिंग अपॉन द क्लाइमेट इट मैनिफेस्ट्स इन डिफरेंट फॉर्म. पर हम कन्विंस कर देते हैं चलो वो लखनऊ वाला प्रॉब्लम तो कम से कम नहीं है. वहाँ पे नया प्रॉब्लम आ गया, फिर बोलते हैं कि भाई यहाँ भी तो ये है, चलो देहरादून चले जाता हूँ, इधर चला जाता हूँ, साउथ में चला जाता हूँ. फिर वहाँ भी प्रॉब्लम आया. तो वेयर इज द प्रॉब्लम? हिमालय में है, साउथ में है, लखनऊ में है, कहाँ है? प्रॉब्लम हमारे भीतर है. यहाँ पे करेक्ट करना पड़ेगा. ठीक है. तो ये जो मीडियोकर लोग हैं, दे टेक वेरियस इनिशिएटिव्स, ऑब्स्टेकल आया तो छोड़ देते हैं. पर जो उत्तम गुण के लोग होते हैं, एक बार संकल्प लिया तो जब तक वो अचीव नहीं करते हैं, दे विल नेवर गिव अप. दैट्स व्हाई द मैसेज इज राइज, अवेक, स्टॉप नॉट टिल द गोल इज अचीव्ड. किसने कहा इसमें? किसने कहा था ये? स्वामी विवेकानंद। ये मैसेज कैसे नहीं मालूम है ना? आप सबको मालूम होना चाहिए। अराइज, अवेक, स्टॉप नॉट टिल द गोल इज अचीव्ड, स्वामी विवेकानंद। उत्तिष्ठत जाग्रत, ओके, प्राप्य वरान निबोधत। तो ये उत्तम गुण के लोग होते हैं। सो भर्तृहरि कहते हैं, प्रारभ्यते न खलु विघ्न भये न नीचे, प्रारभ्य विघ्न विहता विरमन्ति मध्या, विघ्नै पुनः पुनरपि प्रतिहन्यमान, प्रारब्धम उत्तम गुणा न परित्यजन्ति। Okay, so that's what you see, like how beautifully mother has explained. Persist in your will in spite of all failures. थॉमस एडिसन के बारे में सुना है ना? कौन है थॉमस एडिसन? जिन्होंने हमको क्या दिया? बल्ब दिया। कितने बार फेल हुआ उनका एक्सपेरिमेंट? बहुत बार फेल हुआ। उनके असिस्टेंट ने बोला अब तो बंद कर दो, कितना आगे जाओगे? उन्होंने क्या बोला कि नहीं, तुम जिसको फेल्योर मानते हो ना, वो मेरा सक्सेस है, क्योंकि मैं पूरे वर्ल्ड को कन्विंसिंगली बता सकता हूं कि ये 9,999 चीजें काम नहीं करेंगे, इसके पीछे मत पड़ो, आई हैव ऑलरेडी डन दैट, दैट्स माय सक्सेस। सो हाउ डू यू कन्वर्ट योर फेल्यूर इनटू ए सक्सेस स्टोरी? यू शुड नो दैट द आर्ट एंड साइंस। कभी भी हार नहीं मानने का है, ये उत्तम गुण है। परसिस्ट इन योर विल इन स्पाइट ऑफ ऑल फेल्यूर्स, ये थर्ड स्टेज है। एंड टिल दिस इज द ह्यूमन एफर्ट, यहां तक हम कोशिश कर सकते हैं। फिर भी कोशिश करने वालों का भी हार होता है। और किसका हार नहीं होता है? एक कोशिश करने वालों का हार होता भी है। और किसका नहीं होता है? नहीं, फिर भी होएगा। वो एक कंपोनेंट है, वो अगर नहीं जुड़ता है कोशिश के साथ तो हार होगा। दैट इज वाई द फोर्थ स्टेज द मदर सेज यू मस्ट हैव an unflinching faith in the supreme grace. जब तक डिवाइन इंटरवेंशन नहीं है, भगवत कृपा नहीं है, ह्यूमन एफर्ट्स आर ऑल फ्यूटाइल। तो भगवान के साथ हमको जुड़ना पड़ेगा, वो कनेक्शन रखना पड़ेगा। ओके, सो विदाउट दैट कनेक्शन ऑल एफर्ट्स विल बी फेल्यूर। ओके, सो यू कैन से दैट भगवान कौन है? मैं तो श्रम करूंगा, कमा लूंगा, भगवान क्या करेंगे? नहीं हो सकता है। द डिवाइन इंटरवेंशन इज मस्ट, इंपरेटिव, कोई इनकार नहीं कर सकता है उसको। सो व्हाट आर द 4 स्टेजेस? You must be convinced that change can happen. There has to be willingness to change, persistent in will in spite of all failures, and an unflinching faith in the supreme grace. ये हमारे प्रोग्रेस के स्टेजेस होता है। ये 4 चीज़ों को अगर हम ध्यान में रखते हैं, that will help us on the path of our progress, right? So that is the truth that you find that ages after ages, the rishis are repeating in different ways, the ways conducive to the state of consciousness of that age, right? So see, like how this Vedic truth, what we were discussing about the lost cows and the Angirasa rishis, is so beautifully explained. Achareveti charevati charanvai madhuvindate, or Uttishtata Jagrata. This Vedic truth is so beautifully summarized by the mother, and then she had chalked out a framework. If we follow, the progress is bound to happen. Right? Clear? So ये था हमारे वैदिक लेजेंड के बारे में कहानी, जो मैंने आपको बताया, सिंबलिज्म बताया। This 1 minute silence.